311. That's not now.
Hmm.
Okay, nothing new. Well,
Yeah, if you want to just for the heck of it, try that veracity endpoint. I'm pretty sure they're not going to let it through either, but it would just give us one. Yeah, it's in the chat. Testing.lrs.io.
Oh, okay. So that's popcorn out of the way. I'm also going to save the chat while I'm in there. Over here and see if we've got the update. Yes, we do. Your preference which one we try it in, or both?
Yeah, whichever is closest to hand, I guess.
Yeah, I grabbed the credentials and not the. I don't know. Statements no slash. Warning. Authorization set incorrectly, 401.
Oh, is the.
So let me stop and make sure I've got basic.
Oh.
Let me make sure I got no errors here. That could be the source. And we got a valid response.
Wow. Okay.
So 6 space and the BTOA key that you have. Is that what did it?
Yes.
Let me go back over here to.
You're able to see that one in Veracity?
Yeah, got that message or that statement. Test.
That's right. Veracity has lenient settings.
Yeah. Well, and ScornCloud does too, but it's defaulting to not strict mode, so it's weird. So, yeah, so in Veracity, they URL encode the spaces, so it's %20 on everywhere that needed that space.
Oh.
So yeah, and we did learn something.
Well, I mean, we definitely learned something. We learned a number of things we weren't able to make progress before.
Yeah.
Typing is a challenge. RES ULD. Decent responses, and that's all we got back when it was success. Right? There wasn't any code or anything.
Yeah, you just get the return.
JSON response is. So we were to test that it worked well with Veracity. I'm just going to summarize now.
Yeah, and let me send this statement to you. No, I'll do it in Slack. It won't let me do it for some reason in chat. It doesn't like JSON. I don't know why.
SQL and Storm Cloud, right? Yeah, SQL LRS. Storm Cloud. So Matt, do you want to jump in and share what showed up in Veracity?
Yeah. And I also just pasted the JSON in Slack in the channel. But if you want, I can also, I mean, if you want to see
I
it.
heard the Slack chime, but I didn't realize what you were doing.
Yeah, I was going to put it in chat here, but it wouldn't let me do it.
Oh, there you go. I see it.
Yeah, like you said, it's percent encoding the spaces.
Yeah, I think it just trimmed the one, if there was one on the end of the definition type. But you can see in the definition name, that's the original with the spaces. So I think if the people who made the plugin could just trim the strings, I think that would fix any of that. It's kind of cool that the metadata has the user agent as Unreal in there too, so you can see which version it is. At least for Veracity itself.
Do we have any idea what types of feedback it gives? Like what types of xAPI statements it captures?
That's a good question. It just says completed, and I think that was their test.
Yeah.
Their example test was just completed, but it presumably anything. Let me look at their example.
I think that's the thing. If we can get in and figure out how to configure the statement that it's sending, we can modify it. But we didn't see that in the C code, right?
It's in there somewhere in one of them, but just not these. I think these must have. I mean, we're seeing the configuration settings, but not the where it's actually calling that function.
Yeah. So, and request.
There, I do see it now. I missed it earlier. I see it there in the create xAPI phrase, string activity. That makes sense.
Oh, so it's including itself?
That one's is like a generated.
Yeah.
It's probably like a, I don't know, type. I'm not sure what that is. So this is where it's actually being defined. I was looking at it thinking that's where it's being called, but that's actually defining the function itself. Oh, I see the spaces in there. Yeah, you could just pull that space out. On line 71, is that right? 71. Oh, you're not sure why the ID has to be in the format of a URL. Well, that's xAPI. Yes.
Okay. There you go.
And then the other.
And the slating before the slash, I would guess. I don't know. That's
Yeah. You can take out that one too, because they're just
Very good.
while you're there, I'm gonna take a screenshot because I'll forget where that is. And if we ever just needed to refer to it,
Good idea.
it's hard to see. Minimize some faces here. Get the message compiling C code in lower right. Compiling complete.
well, you might try playing there.
Hot reload took 32.1 seconds. So do I just play and hit submit again?
Yeah, see if it gets the same thing or no.
Yep. Now we got an ID.
Was that
Rather
Squirrel
than the
Cloud
error.
or- Yep, that worked.
Awesome, Matt. For not knowing anything about it, you sure figured it out.
This is so weird. It took a while to find it, but
Nice.
Yeah, well, I mean, you saw the issue. They had a couple few, spare spaces in there, and the only way to tell that it was a problem was, as we tried multiple LMSs, if we would have got success on the first one we tried, if we would have tried Veracity from the beginning, we would not have known that there was that issue. Until we tried to demo and used a different one.
Yeah, that's definitely interesting that because it would have worked for one, but not for the others. That's actually even more troublesome, right?
Yeah.
Because later you'd be like, well, what, it works fine here.
So the plan is to go to the other project in the blueprint and find the locations where we want to wire up the call and import the library into the other project. Is that?
So in my library, I've opened these other
Mhm.
examples. So if you want, I can take a minute and open this one and see what I can show you about it. And it's fairly complex, but what we're thinking of doing is just adding in the code to activate based on a button push within the environment.
Mm.
And if we could send a statement from there, we can sort of rewire. So again, this one starts off in edit mode, and you see these buttons back here. I don't want to click on them and cause any issues. So I'm just going to go right into play mode here, where I can navigate you around. So the character shows up, and you can see these colored buttons.
Mm.
So if I hit the first level one, it turns green and goes down, and then the next one activates. So I can go off of the first one and activate the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And all we're wondering is if we couldn't tie one of these
Bury the
components
xAPI
in.
call in there. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.